and welcome to our Saturday night's main event review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by WhatCulture, here to review everything that happened at Saturday night's main event. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we review Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a very good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Hamflett to review Saturday night's main event. And what a main event Saturday night was.
I loved Saturday night's main event, but I'd rather save discussion of Chesterfield Nightlife until the SmackDown preview on Friday. That was, well, you know the old phrase, it's a main event in any city.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you just say that about certain matches that are pretty bland. This could be a main event in any city. Let me tell you, like, I'm not sure what could be a main event in Chesterfield because I've experienced it. And there's a lot of matches that I'd have to see that would match the experience I had on the night, the night that you showed me, the night that our friend Lee from Lean Gate Valves, more on you and the night and Lean Gate Valves and Chesterfield coming Friday when we are once again bathed in blue as we were
And
at the
rested a
SMD
bit more.
Stadium. That's right, isn't it?
SMH Stadium, yeah.
SMD Stadium on Saturday.
Yeah, we're still a bit tired, aren't we?
A little bit.
Too old for this.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I was nervous that Saturday because I remember going out in Chesterfield and I've spoken to people subsequent to that. It was bad enough when I used to go out. People were like, it's gotten worse. But I'd also hyped it up for years, let's be honest. And then Saturday night, we're walking down Saltergate or wherever we are in the middle of Chesterfield. And you're just going, this is awesome.
Yep.
And it was.
Got the feeling straight away that everything was going to go great.
Little teaser. I took Michael Hamflett to a bar that had a speedboat in the middle of it. More on that on Friday.
I might be prepared to confront the consequences of my actions by then. And I'm not right now.
Yeah, and if you're not, you know what I'll say? I'll say, nah, come on.
It's another teaser.
There's a lot of stories to tell.
You're like, none of them.
Yeah.
You know, like
skip 25 minutes on Friday.
You know, when people are telling you about a great night out that you weren't on, well, get hyped for Friday because not just is there going to be discussion like that, there's also going to be full and frank thoughts on the traitors finale that took place on the Friday before, which now feels like 10 years ago. I'll give you my deeper thoughts on episode 2 of the new series of Gladiators. And if there's chance, only if you're lucky, we might even preview SmackDown.
Sorry, I just remembered. If we're doing that on Friday, The Apprentice will have started as well. So we might have to push the SmackDown preview part.
This Wednesday?
It's this Thursday, I think.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Apprentice coverage coming your way as well.
So, yeah, we'll put the timestamps and you'll know good first half hour. Just not a chance of us talking about the show that's happening that night or the next night. The Royal Rumble, one of the biggest shows of the year.
Joke's on you today as well because, to be fair, it's already on you if you're tuning at this. Look at us too. A couple of idiots trying to talk about a wrestling show that we were blatantly too hungover and tired to get through last night. Nicholas is not in the chair today. Get well soon, Adam Nicholas. And I say that on behalf of our most devoted listeners and viewers because they will be going looking for the timestamps and they won't find them because you're off. So apologies to the people that have started enjoying a taste of the good life. Get well soon, Nicholas.
Yes.
We did
try.
Demeanour is only self-inflicted.
We did try and watch Saturday night's main event when we got back in, which lasted a whole 5 seconds.
Sorry about that. Do you think you can, from your seated position?
I can't seem to find Saturday night's main event. Is it on YouTube? I don't want to watch clips. I don't want to spoil anything. Oh, you've gone to sleep. Okay, fair enough. All right. Chicken and chips in bed.
And then you open the box in the morning, the chicken was still there.
Still there. Breakfast.
I had some cheesy chips and I feel like it was one of those situations where you put your fork into the cheese, the chips obviously hidden underneath like a nice cheesy blanket at this point, and I must have just gone with a fork. Oh, you know, when that guy uses that microphone, like that. Because what remained of it in the morning, which I ate cold, goated, with just a few straggler chips. And I don't remember having enough time to take that many bites in the room before. So I think while you were trying, like, basically with my last acts of Saturday, I was just like, plastic fork, stab, different order of events this time, Stab, gob, chew, collapse.
But more on that on Friday. Let's talk Saturday night's main event. The best Saturday night's main event I've ever seen. This.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you started with a fact.
It was good. It was a vast improvement, I thought.
Yeah, it was. It was loads better than the first one for a variety of reasons as well, which we'll get into. But ultimately, they, I think, have at very least established the what the atmosphere and the tone is supposed to be like when it's not just like pure mainlined nostalgia. That was so prevalent in the first one. I actually think it kind of overwhelmed the show, and the quality was lower than I expected. The match formula didn't really suit this little playground of the past they'd created first time round, and I think they measured that better this time. It's not without flaws, this current Saturday night's main event rebirth, and I'm not convinced the ratings are much to write home about, because all the brothered in we're pretending we're not WWE PR Twitter accounts from Legend Hall, like all of them are saying another great night, vibes off the hook, social media engagement incredible. How are the ratings? Social media engagement incredible, vibes off the hook. Like, so I think that tells me that it's perhaps not some sort of juggernaut in this like prime spot that it's got. But as a wrestling fan, I got quite a lot of it.
The only change that I would make, you don't have to do it the next show, because that's, I don't know when it is, but I assume around WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
I'd do a shock title change.
Needs it, I think. We're a way away from it, but like last week we were kind of like jokingly kind of nicknaming it Battle of the Actually Over Belts.
Yes.
Like, that's got as many positives as negatives attached to it, so don't kind of like fall into that trap.
But hey, no Hulk Hogan.
Yay!
Instead, Ted DiBiase's on the first faces we see.
Question. Hulk Hogan couldn't make the show. Because he was at his son Nick's wedding. Now, did he just make the late call to rock up? Or what? Because presumably before taking the booking, you know, I got something on that day.
Yes.
It's right there. I probably had too many of my real American beers. I can't remember what it was. And he's like, all right, I'll take the booking. And then, wouldn't you believe it?
Oh, no.
Mere weeks after he was laughed off of Monday Night Raw and got booed out the building in front of a crowd that was likely to be similar to the one that attended Saturday night's main event in San Antonio, Texas, it came back to him. My only son is getting married. Best show my face.
Yeah, maybe you just thought, oh, bloody hell. Taz's going to show up at this one and say, is it Harden here? Or is it me? Ruin another family wedding.
So yeah, no Hogan.
What were they called? Not main event.
Aces and Eights.
That was it, Aces and Eights. Yeah.
Aye, that was it. I based on what little scuttlebutt you see on the internet, I'm not sure if Brooke ever found herself having that kind of function, Hogan to be invited. I don't think they're on great terms.
Oh.
I don't know. But
anyway, Jesse Ventura's there. Love a bit of Jesse. He was on form throughout the show.
Yeah.
Don't say WWF, though. Him and Joe Tessitore, who is just a consummate pro, as we've said on numerous occasions. I like Jesse Ventura's Public Enemy hat as well. And Jesse starts the show off. Yeah, really looking forward to the show. Looking forward to the IC title match. Texas, what's wrong? Can't you handle some Minnesota weather? Let's go, Jesse.
Just a bit of snow.
No messing about, straight into the Women's World Championship match, Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. I genuinely meant to put the Queen back on here for a performance.
Yeah.
She merited going back onto the deck, so apologies to my Queen.
Because soon there will be something else to don in this desk on a Friday.
Oh, yes.
And a Monday, won't there?
If I hadn't left it at home.
We left the bag, Lee, in Chesterfield. We'll be
at my parents' house.
We'll be addressing this situation soon.
Might be back on the desk sooner rather than later.
Although, that's it, if you see two people in the 60s just strutting the streets of Chesterfield.
70s.
70s?
We're on our 70s.
You folks look good for their 70s.
They had no problems with their children, probably.
Yeah, how did they look this good for 70 when they raised you?
One and done, in the words of the Usos.
Strutting up and down the mean streets of Chesterfield, swigging from stunning Spyrites bottles. They're ours, and they're coming home.
White Gear Spyrites bottles.
Aye, WrestleMania Spyrites bottles.
I like that they have the, I don't know what the technical term is, the the fancy Saturday Night's Main Event microphone thing for Lillian Garcia.
Decorated one with the two thing.
That thought had barely crossed my mind when Nia Jax headbutted Rhea Ripley to get this match underway, and Lillian Garcia quite rightly got up there very quickly. Jax just dominates early on because Rhea tries to fight back with some clotheslines, but Jax just eats them and then nails her with another headbutt. There's an avalanche Samoan drop to take us to our first break of the evening. It's a great spot after that. When we come back, we have Rhea. She's pulling out all the stops here for a show that I was anticipating. It's kind of just by the numbers. This is Rumble next weekend. She tried a springboard Hurricane Rana. Jax caught it, lifted her back up, but Ripley turned that into a code red for a near fall. She goes for the riptide, but that gets counted into a Samoan drop by Nia Jax. She goes up on the turnbuckle and hits a sort of super leg drop on Rhea Ripley, but Ripley kicks out at 2. Jax goes up in the corner for the Annihilator, but Ripley gets in there and drops Nia Jax with a huge power bomb. She tries to put on a prism lock. And Nia Jax. I've written here Nia Jax counters it, but I also did see the clip of people going, how's that a counter? Because prior to countering it and kicking out of it, she just grabbed Rhea Ripley's arse, basically. Jax goes up top, gets driven to the outside, and Ripley climbs up to the top and hits an awesome-looking crossbody onto Nia Jax. They get back in. Ripley again tries for a riptide, but she gets splashed by Nia Jax, who hits the Annihilator. Goes for a second one. Rhea Ripley still moving. And as she sets up for that, Ripley pops up, electric chair, riptide, 1, 2, 3. Great opener.
Yeah, terrific stuff. TV Nia strikes again. And what a promising start to the year this is now that Rhea's back on top as the champion, because there was a, I think, fairly valid complaint that she wasn't wrestling enough. And that's not because I want her to get injured. It's because I want to see awesome Rhea Ripley matches. And
crowd lover.
Yeah, the thing about being the top star is, yes, you can get away with using her a bit less, but don't be tight about it. Just be maybe a little bit pickier with, say, TV, weekly TV matches. But then a Saturday Night's Main Event comes along, and Rhea Ripley is a perfect character for shows like this. There was not an ounce of fat on this match either. All action, which is what you need for an opener to sort of maintain how hot this building was when it first started. And these crowds, if these Saturday Night Main Event shows are going to have crowds like this every single time, I'm not just talking about size, I'm talking about how into everything they were, then they're going to constantly be carried because the audiences just seem to buy in to what their sort of added role is here. I don't know if it's something to do with the vibe that's curated by the way that it looks different and by the little nostalgic throwbacks, like the way the referees and the microphone looks, like the narrow aisle that has to that kind of forces wrestlers into the maw of people. That you get out of a
Jacob Fatu and Gunther did not like that.
And great.
Get off me.
Absolutely brilliant in terms of building atmosphere.
HBK like the HBK is mid sign though.
Yeah. And how great Rhea Ripley looked kind of entering through that throng. Just so much to like about this. They've had good chemistry in the past, so not this kind of blinding surprise. But considering that the stakes were as low as they got, because you never in a million years thought Nia was going to win, they nonetheless put together something that, off the top of my head, has got to be the best women's match in WWE in 7 days. Because I would say Bayley and Tiffany Stratton was marginally better. Are we seeing the signs that they're getting somewhere in 2025?
Hopefully.
Maybe.
But yeah, really great crowd at the Frost Wank Centre.
Picturing a snowman jacking it now. No arms.
Alundra Blaze, Medusa.
Snow arms.
What do you call her? Alundra or Medusa?
She's Alundra to me because I'm a new generation truther.
Yeah.
But they have been desperate for basically every year from the last 30 to make her Medusa because all they want to do is bin stuff. So it kind of reduces a quite impressive in-ring career and the ability to be a star in a time when it wasn't easy to do that as a woman. It's you can put the belt in the bin, that's you now. Bring it.
Bring a bin if you can.
Bring a bin if you've got one.
Nikki Cross. Not as easy as it looks. And also in the crowd was a close personal friend of mine, Mark Henry. We at WhatCulture are going on tour, and we, as in me and Mark Henry, are going on tour for Sweet Chin Disco, the wrestling club night. We are going all over the place, all over the UK, Manchester, Belfast, Glasgow, London, Birmingham. I've missed one out. Nottingham. If you want to join us for that, just search for Sweet Chin Disco, and these tickets will be going on sale soon. Make sure you sign up to get all the details about our live show that's coming your way in March too.
Yes, we're very, very excited about this tour, and it's very important that Wilbourn promotes Sweet Chin Disco because this beautiful man is going to be all over all of it. But just in the interest of zero confusion, if you are attending the WWE shows in these cities that we will be in, don't worry, we will either give you the perfect send-off or the perfect follow-through, or a combination of the two. If you go to these WWE events, it's a bit like All In London last year. The only other way to make the day even better than it already is to get tickets for WhatCulture Live and Sweet Chin Disco. They're both, Sweet Chin Disco tickets are available right now. The WhatCulture ones will be available soon. Just to answer the early questions on that, neither show will impinge on your ability to get to or enjoy the WWE event that's in town that night. The Manchester one is a standalone thing anyway, so you can just have this fantastic night with us in Manchester. But yes, WWE will be in town, but so will we. So tickets will be available, as soon as they're available for the WhatCulture side, we will be letting you know. But you can register your interest now because there is going to be an exclusive pre-sale.
Yes.
That's only going to be available to the people that sign up in advance.
Then we got the IC title match, Braun Breaker versus Sheamus. The first, this is an amazing stat, first IC title defense on Saturday night's main event since 1992.
Go on here, give me the button.
Oh, sorry, I've gone straight to the answer because I thought you were just, we haven't got time.
Yeah. It's got to be, I think this feels wrong, but they'll say this, and it's got to be Sean and Bulldog.
Jesse Ventura says, Braun Breaker's a Steiner. That means to him 2 + 2 = 5.
Nice. Very good.
Fantastic addition to the show.
Yeah.
Obviously, just these two have fought a lot, but they're very even. They lock horns. Breaker pushes him away and laughs at him. And then they ended up fighting on the outside. Breaker goes to do his bit where he runs around the ring and hit him with a super spear, I suppose they call it, don't they?
Yeah.
Catches Breaker, chucks him into the timekeeper's area. Then Sheamus tries to jump off the steel steps and, hang on, wrong button.
Oh my God.
Breaker spears him out of midair, one of the spots of the night.
Yeah.
And that obviously quite rightly takes us through a break because you have to wonder if Sheamus is going to be alive when you come back.
Yeah, you need to recover that from that, let alone Sheamus.
Yes, it was an amazing spot. When we come back, Sheamus is in trouble. The ribs. But he fires up as the Breaker's taunting him, hits a big knee to the champ. Breaker bails out there to the apron, and having attempted it earlier, Sheamus gets him with the beats of the Bodhrán, 16 to be precise. He gets him up for the Celtic Cross as well. That gets a 2 count. But as Sheamus goes up top, I think he lifted that awesome spot. He lifts himself up from the floor to the top, but Breaker catches him there and hits the Frankensteiner. Goes for another spear. A huge brogue kick by Sheamus, but Breaker just gets his foot on the bottom rope to break the count. Jesse Ventura loses it at the referee calling that as a rope break because he was convinced he hadn't seen it as he was counting, or that he counted 3 and that should be the result. Regardless, Sheamus tries for another brogue kick, but the ribs give out, and Breaker, you can't do that against him. Spears him, 1, 2, 3.
I think, the three of us with the coverage of this FUED on Raw, because it has included plenty of Ludwig Kaiser as well, maybe been not so much critical of the work that takes place in the matches.
No.
But critical of the three's ability to keep it fresh when WWE seem to keep going back to it. So we've had every version of the singles match and the triple threat.
Yes.
And it hasn't really. Yes, Braun Breaker has remained Intercontinental Champion, has been able to look dominant in the process, but I wouldn't say it's exactly been some sort of defining rivalry for him. The fact that he's taking these other hard hitters and saying, I can hit hardest, actually. If anything, it's almost felt like time filling before he gets to the next thing.
Yes.
And the three of them deserve better because they have knocked 10 bells out of each other along the way. I almost feel like they have a bit of an opportunity of, this is the end of a game where it was like next goal wins. Like, it's not been bad before. It's just not felt terribly productive.
No.
This was so, re-energized and productive.
Yeah.
In actually
I felt guilty about burying this.
a little bit. It made me feel like Braun Breaker has achieved something by kind of getting through the difficulties of this 3-man rivalry. That by the end I was like, right, that's it, last goal wins. It was great. It was always great. And we can just kind of pretend that because this rocked, we can just call the other stuff, success story. Remember the brilliant 3-way feud between Braun Breaker, Sheamus
Yes.
and Ludwig Kaiser? it wouldn't be reflective of the week-to-week experience, but this just left me on such a high. If they can now leave it alone, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Sheamus, I thought they balanced very well here, this desire for him to win the Intercontinental title, but this never really being his night to get it done.
Yeah.
You know, they measured that right. I thought the ways in which that Braun Breaker was allowed to show physical dominance over Sheamus were applied to that story very nicely as well, because Sheamus at various points did, like, what he played fearless. Like, there was no sense of intimidation, despite the fact that, having wrestled him plenty, he's fully aware of Breaker's speed and his strength and the impact of his moves. And, you know, like, the spear spot on the floor is, like, indicative of that. Sheamus never bottled anything, and that was him being like, all I've got is my old man fight. That's what if I don't have that, what chance in hell do I stand of beating him? So he kind of had to just like what is it? Offense is the best form of defense, and that's how he plowed forward, and ultimately it led to his downfall as well, and he lost. The spear at this point, it's the second time they've done it from the floor, where it's almost like you don't see Breaker's body until he's like already left his feet.
So brilliant bit of production.
Yeah, you see him from, I wouldn't say it's midair, but the spring is already in his step and he's off. So what you're seeing is, like, they've created the sensation of feeling like just off camera they've loaded Braun Breaker into a cannon.
Yes.
It's like we were there at WrestleMania when the Jackass guys did the big hand on Sami Zayn. And even then, from where we were seated, it was still a bit of production magic because it came in from our blind side of the ring.
Yeah.
But watching that on camera is a totally different thing, because it's just, where does that come from? You've never seen the big hand get
You've got
loaded.
to time it as well, because, like, he's going to fall back. He's going to be going in forwards.
Yeah.
Spear's going to knock him backwards, and he could easily just smash his head on the steps.
Well, and it's all about, you know, it's as much to do, even when you're flying through midair on the arena floor, as we saw later on elsewhere on the show, like, there's still got to be a bit of two-way propulsion for a spear to look right.
Yes.
It's both wrestlers' job in a way, and it can go wrong on either side, and for it to look as great as it was on Impact I think it was put over by the one that didn't go so well later on. A really, really lovely bit of business. Let's just pretend it was all awesome and never speak of it again.
Or one more go around at WrestleMania with Sheamus' career or something on the line. I think that's the way to go.
That's a different beast.
Yeah, don't need to just run it back. I think Braun should be like, no, I've beaten you. I've beaten you comprehensively. And the video package should be like, Sheamus, lost. Lost. I'm sick and tired of you. Yeah. This is it now. Yeah, I want to complete this to finish my career. So if you don't win this, I suppose your career is over. More legends in the crowd, as I mentioned. Ted DiBiase. I saw someone tweeting saying that Mello should have the $1 Million Championship. And considering my love for NXT people holding that, I like that as a tweet.
The Mellow Dollar Man.
Oh my God.
And Jim Duggan, always great to see him get a lovely reaction. What a lovely man. And then it was time for another legend, Shawn Michaels, to host the contract signing and the raising of the belts to be immediately taken down and taken to another building ahead of the ladder match.
Put in the truck, taken off the truck.
Did you see the social media video as well of like, oh, there he is in his cowboy hat. Psych, it's Triple H!
Yeah,
you little rascal, Paul.
He's chasing the Macaulay Culkin reveal pop, isn't he?
Michael says how happy he is to be back in San Antonio, but he'd been given one job to get that contract signed between Cody and Kev. He's the closer that the SmackDown GM, can't remember what his name is, had sent for tonight. Michaels introduces Owens, who wears
Oh my God.
a Cody Sucks Eggs shirt. What's all that about?
Excellent.
For people who don't know, just in case.
That is a famous T-shirt worn that said "Dusty Sucks Eggs" by Terry Funk, because he could call him an egg-sucking dog, which is funny to think about, a dog sucking an egg. But Kevin Owens' T-shirt game of late has been exceptional. He's still wearing the red elbow pad.
Yes.
The Dusty Rhodes elbow pad, as he's done for pretty much the duration of this.
Sammy shirt on SmackDown, I think.
He wore a Naomi one to wrestle Jimmy Uso. Oh, dick move that is, pal. And of course he had the, what's his dad's job? Like the Canadian son of a security officer.
Electrician or something.
He's played a blinder as usual.
But they both had great entrances, because you had the Cody Sucks Eggs t-shirt, and then Cody Rhodes was one of the best entrances I've seen in years.
Gorgeous.
Puts his belt, climbs up a ladder, puts his belt on the top, does Whoa! Pyro goes off. I was like, is this the end of WrestleMania? What's
It was
this?
Fantastic. What a look.
HBK offers both men the chance to sit down. They didn't, and he kind of loved that. But he says, look, as much as we've enjoyed you two battering each other for months, let's get this contract signed. And Rhodes signs it and passes it to Kevin. And Kevin goes to sign it. I guess something I want to say. And he talks about the promo that Cody cut the night before on SmackDown, saying that Owens always took the easy way out. That annoyed him. He said, I didn't do that at Bash in Berlin, and I could have. You're the one who quit when things get tough. And he starts ranting. And as has been clipped already, it's a great clip of Cody. Enough! One level below. This is bull from the Vegas press conference. Watch that again. When was that?
We'll be coming up on a year since
Yeah, it
that.
must be soon because the Rumble's a bit
Actually,
later this year.
Might be this week or something.
He's done dealing with Owens, trying to justify himself. He wants to find out who's facing. He's looking past him. He wants to find out who's facing at WrestleMania, basically. But Owens still wants to rant. He talks about how Cody's taken everything he's deserved for the last 10 years. And Shawn Michaels goes, sound a bit jealous there, Ken. What was that? Say that again. You sound a bit jealous. Me jealous? You're jealous? I'm bringing more prestige to this title. He's got his fake belt than you ever did. And the only one who's going to lose his smile is you, Cody Rhodes. And he signs the contract, and the referee does the hanging him on the hanger. Michael says that only one man will walk out undisputed WWE champion next Saturday, and he wishes them both the best of luck. He goes to shake both men's hands. It's cheap shots him. No, it's cheap shots Rhodes. Grabs Michaels and he's going to kill him. Package pile driver to the old man.
Yeah.
But Rhodes hits him with a super kick, and HBK puts his hat back on. Takes off the old jacket. He doesn't do the shimmy.
No.
I missed the shimmy. Takes off the jacket. Sweet chin music. He lays out Kevin Owens.
I'm mixed on this. I understand.
A huge pap in the Wilbourn household.
Oh my God.
I understand and accept giving the San Antonio fans a nice moment of a sweet chin music from Shawn Michaels. I also think there's kind of nobody better than Kevin Owens to sell the disgust at that and suggest that there's a fix in, because even in the contract signing, Cody's got somebody watching his back, and should he lose the match, as we think he probably will, but I'm enjoying the 1% of doubt. He's got the inbuilt excuse of, look, like this was, the SmackDown GM, can't remember his name, wouldn't have been out if he wouldn't have attacked me. He sent somebody who was clearly on Cody's side, and he's bitter because I wore a Bret Hart jacket and because I'm Canadian. Like, he would make all these excuses of why Shawn Michaels has done that to him. So Kevin Owens is the guy that can get away with all of this. I don't know.
Do some research or something. No,
it's okay. It just strikes me as odd. Said this on the Raw preview that Kevin Owens can't simply just batter people on these Saturday Night's Main Event specials without falling afoul of Degeneration X. That's twice now. 2 out of 2. Package power drives Cody thingy. Well, the first one, but he's not the big bad. That's the game Triple H. And now he's taking the sweet chin music off Shawn Michaels. So I don't know. I'm somewhere in the middle on that specific spot. The rest was good. Cody and Kevin Owens' chemistry remains excellent. There is nothing left to do but fight. And I will say, overall, praise for existing, because I think this might have been the beating heart of what made this show better.
Yes.
So breaking up with
I agree.
A heated, talky segment was what the last show desperately needed and didn't have. So far better to have this in another match.
I was just looking there because I was like, what would the KO Mania be for 2025?
Yeah, we had this discussion,
It
didn't
was
we?
WrestleMania 8.
We were so close to having WrestleMania 9 and it being Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada. But it's WrestleMania 8.
They changed their plans if things have been mixed up. Shawn Michaels fought Tito Santana, of course, on that show.
He did.
Shawn, I'd like it if Kevin Owens just starts fighting. He's not the legend killer, he just starts fighting. Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, The Rock, probably, at some point.
There was a double main event at WrestleMania 8. It was marketed as what could have been Hogan's last match. So you had Flair versus Savage and Hogan versus Sid. So it'd be funny for Owens' WrestleMania 8 t-shirt. It says double main event. And if he is fighting Sammy, it's just Kevin, and Sammy can't even get on the t-shirt. Yeah. 2 main events for Kevin Owens. Or something. I don't know what they might do with it.
They could have had Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan. Just looking at that then.
Yeah, apparently not big business at the old Housekeys, apparently. That Shawn Michaels El Matador match starts. Eagle-eyed fans, go back and watch it. They go face to face, go right up close against each other. You might have covered this in the list before. And Michaels has got his back to camera, and El Matador's the one facing it. And you can just see El Matador say, you got a booger on your nose. And Shawn goes like, and then they go back again. WrestleMania.
That's the good stuff, innit?
Yeah.
Then we got a match that went to disqualification, so we can just kind of move past it, I suppose. We don't need to talk about it.
No, nothing.
Look, I think we went into this going, I guess we some eventful stuff with Cody and KO, the title matches, and there'll be a match that we'll all sit here and say, oh, good, big lads bloody clashing. Mm-hmm. But this is the main thing everyone left the show talking about, understandably, because Jacob Fatu is undeniable, I suppose, in the words of Cody Rhodes. Mm-hmm. Especially, I love them. I watched SmackDown, even though I didn't have to, because I'd heard more stuff like this. I love Jacob Fatu cutting a promo. He said, there's like a little yeah from Tama, and then he said he was going to beat Strowman's ass post to post live on NBC from coast to coast.
Oh my God.
Fatu! And that wasn't even the best thing about this. No. Big men, bang, 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 they're all very even. But Strowman takes over with a shoulder block, but he misses a charge. And then Strowman's on the outside. And Jacob Fatu, you're that big, you shouldn't be doing it. It's an amazing suicide dive to take us to a break. We come back. Braun's back in control, sidewalk slam, running big boots. Fatu recovers, but Strowman clotheslines him to the outside. Wait a second, have I got confused? Possibly. Maybe we messed up my notes. Regardless, Strowman beels Jacob Fatu across the ring and does his choo-choo run, knocks him into the barricade, does another one, and he flies, he sells brilliantly as well, Jacob Fatu.
Bumper. Such
over
a good
the announce
bumper.
table. Goes for a third one, but Fatu catches him with a Samoan drop onto the announce table, and then Jacob Fatu, annoyed at, I don't know, being knocked off his feet, decides he's going to kill Braun Strowman. Yeah. Sets him up in the corner. Hip attack. Another hip attack. Another hip attack. Another hip attack. Another hip attack.
You're joking. Not another one?
The referee does the Simpsons. Stop. He's already dead.
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu isn't having any of that, so he kills the ref. Security comes in. They're dead. SmackDown GM shows up. Can't remember what his name is. Doesn't matter. He can't stop anything. No. And Jacob Fatu hits, I think, 3 of those devastating-looking moonsaults onto Braun Strowman, who by this point, his face is just covered in blood. It's like dripped down onto his chest. Yeah. He is dead. Mm-hmm. Jacob Fatu is the bayest.
What a weekend for Jacob Fatu off the back of several good months in the gimmick. And this is what I mean. I'm not saying that this is some sort of out of nowhere. Jacob Fatu's pretty good, actually. Maybe you want to catch up. Everyone's been saying it for years, and even if you've only kind of seen him in WWE, you got it instantly as soon as he arrived, and they've just gone from strength to strength with him ever since. But yeah, I think this being over a 48-hour period certainly helped. You know, or even less, I guess. Like within 26 hours, you had seen and heard the very best of what Jacob Fatu has to offer, and there is not a lot quite as good in wrestling as the feeling that when everybody is starting to rally around, and to use Cody's word, an undeniable force of nature in pro wrestling. It's such a thrilling feeling when somebody's on that rise and nothing has got in their way yet, and there appears to be nothing in the way because nothing can stop them. Like, we talk a lot on these podcasts in general, not just about people getting pushes, but about people that get those pushes, and then I'm going to mix a metaphor that you hate, but it's because people always say it, running with the ball. If you're going to get given the ball, run with it, don't fumble it. And Jacob Fatu,
appropriate on the eve of the Super Bowl.
That's why I said that.
It was the championship games last night.
What are those?
So the 2 brackets, AFC and NFC. Winners of that go to the Super Bowl. And it is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Our friend, we've been to their stadium.
Versus the Kansas City Chiefs, who are trying for the 3-peat.
Oh, many of them in Super Bowl history?
I don't think there ever has been one, but I'm not very good at my.
Patriots didn't get it done.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm even trying to blag this. All I know is everyone hates the Kansas City Chiefs, and most people aren't fans of the Philadelphia Eagles either. But I think everyone thinks KC Chiefs are a bit Man United in terms of the decisions they're getting as well. A bit of controversy last night.
Fly, as far as I'm concerned.
Controversy in the Bills game last night. I haven't really had a chance to watch it yet. I'll check about the 3-peat.
Beautiful stadium. Yeah,
but yes, in terms of running with the ball, and I think a lot of tweets sort of encapsulated this over the weekend. It's like, you can complain about certain things, especially in 2025 regarding WWE, but when they like someone and they want to get them over, they really don't miss nowadays, do they?
No. It's captivating when Jacob Fatu's on screen. Absolutely captivating. The match, weirdly enough, And nobody will talk about the sock hair ever. So I'll just say this now and then. We'll pretty much just, the words as they leave my mouth will just fritter away. Was like a touch on the dry side before they got to the floor.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm not feeling like I'm quite getting what I imagined from this. Wasn't that like just two men lobbing bombs? And then they got onto the floor and then it just burst into life. And then the angle was ultimately what this was all about anyway. So I'm not worried about that as such. It's just they didn't quite have the monster chemistry I thought they might. And then when they did, Jesus Christ, the chemistry was so hot it exploded the whole building. Like, this was is it fair to say an even better version of the Bronson Reed Seth Rollins segment from late on Raw last year?
Yes.
And I would say, in some respects, it was a direct lift. And the reason it was better is because Jacob Fatu's energy is just that much more imposing than Bronson Reed's. Loved it. Loved Jacob Fatu's weekend. Became as confident that I've ever been that if they wanted to, they could go with Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. And a little bit of WrestleMania.
It's now not like, if you've not got The Rock, it kind of has to be.
And a little bit of a teaser for the Raw preview if you haven't listened to it yet. We discuss in quite a lot of detail the weirdness around the Roman Reigns ceremony potentially being binned or the lack of promotion for it whatsoever. Maybe Solo versus Roman was initially on the docket. That got bumped to Netflix. And then they've started thinking, Jacob, a tag match, Roman Punk, who knows? And then the reason why there's maybe been a change on Roman's end is because they've decided to see just how far they can go with Jacob. And so far, so amazing. And post-Rumble, we'll see that direction start to take shape. I don't know. But I've never felt more convinced that if they wanted to, they could.
Yes. Yeah, and this feels so exciting right now if you're a fan of Jacob Fatu because, anything's possible.
Yeah. Him in the Rumble is a different beast all of a sudden. Or him running interference to Solo at his own expense, let's say. Could be interesting as well.
Because he'd obviously say, I love you, Solo, for the time being.
That's what he says.
For the time being.
Yeah.
He is, he's going to be, he already is. But, Bild, the German newspaper, got very excited by
I
this.
saw this, yeah.
Weird.
Things are okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
Any three-peats in the Super Bowl?
I don't think so. I'm just Googling it here. Patriots 2005 lost to the Denver Broncos in the divisional round.
Oh.
And some of the other teams didn't even make it there. I don't think
even in the Brady and Pocket years, they never won 3 in a row.
Nah.
Oh, yeah.
Brady in the pocket. That's
not the
we'll save our preview for that because that's not next weekend. That's Rumble weekend.
Of course, yeah.
It's the weekend after.
Full Super Bowl preview coming 2 weeks time.
Yeah, apologies in advance for that SmackDown review because I am going to be buggered staying up watching watch the Super Bowl. I have to do it every year, and I always do it. I always go. I'll watch the first quarter. That's kind of slow going sometimes, or a team goes on a ridiculous lead.
Yeah.
There's been a couple I've gone like, well, they're not coming back from here because they're not the Patriots.
Yeah.
And then half the time I'll watch till half time. And then, especially in recent years, I've gone, well, so-and-so's playing. Remember when they had every rap star ever?
Yeah.
It's Kendrick this year.
Okay.
So I'll go, well, obviously I'm going to watch that. And then by that point, I'll be so buzzing. I'll be like, oh, what's the difference between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., to be honest?
I've lived that life plenty of times in my life.
So apologies in advance.
I'm living it on Saturday in Chesterfield, actually. So.
Yeah. Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard shown in the crowds. And then we find out that I Show Speed is going to be live streaming the Royal Rumble.
Great. I've seen some tweets where he looks like a complete arsehole. So.
Funny when he got RKO'd, though, wasn't it?
Very funny. Very good.
It's going to be me this year in that prime bottle.
Oh, you've finally got the spot of the
I've claimed our first backfired out. Bang! Straight away.
Bagsy.
KSI, I Show Speed. Me!
Which reminds me again to say, keep them peeled for more details. Get on that pre-show list as quick as possible because it's a world tour and eagle eyes amongst you will have seen it. Las Vegas, Friday the 18th. Lots more information coming soon, but we're extremely excited to share what we've got planned.
Friday the 18th of April, yes.
Yes, Friday the 18th of April. Las Vegas, Nevada.
Friday the 18th of April. That means WrestleMania will be this Saturday the 19th and Sunday the 20th. That's Sunday right. The 20th of April. 4/20.
4/20.
Main event time. Yeet! Yeet! I could just go, right, skip 5 minutes and save myself a bit of time on a Sunday night when I'm watching this. Because I know what it looks like, but it never stops it never stops amazing me. And then you also have Gunther. Don't touch me as he comes through the crowd. Jacob Fatu looked like he was going to fight some people.
It was great, wasn't it?
I was like, don't reach out and touch. I wouldn't. I'd be like that.
Yeah, very good.
Very good, sir.
Good wrestling.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Like he's a magpie.
Magpies.
Gunther battered him early on, though, didn't he? He was not playing games. Big boot to the head. Chops that just chop so hard you have to go outside the ring. Yeah, it's not many times that normally I'm like, a big dive and we go to a break, or a spectacular moonsault and we go to a break. A chop and we go to a break, and that made as much sense as the others. Yep. Gunther comes back after the break, nailing Uso with a clothesline for a 2. More chops, more boots to the head. Jay does, fires up, hits a Samoan drop, but then Gunther's just like, enough momentum for you. Power bomb. But Jey Uso kicks out at 2. And then, again, we go to a break, come back. Gunther still in control. German suplex. He gets hit with a super kick as he tries for a lariat, though. And Uso avoids the shotgun drop kick and hits a running hip attack, which looks rubbish. Not because it's Jey Uso, because it doesn't compare to the man who's just killed someone with it a few minutes ago. But we know how effective that is from Samoans, and he goes up top. But Gunther grabs him up there, tries for a superplex, but Uso slips underneath and hits a sit-out powerbomb for a nice 2 count. Uso looks like Gunther's right. Okay, you've had your flurry. Uso hits a spear out of nowhere on Gunther, who kicks out. There's such a great late kick out here,
really good.
And then this is the moment where dodgy spear and all that, but this is the moment that you thought, if it's ever going to happen, it's here. The crowd was so into it. Super kick, spear, big Uso splash, but once again, Gunther just kicks out, and as Jey Uso goes for the 3rd spear, Gunther just catches him, powerbomb, up you go again, another powerbomb, and he gets the 1, 2, 3. Watts commentary does put over the valiant effort that Jey Uso's put in.
Yeah, I don't imagine Jey Uso is the type of person that needs to rely on or use social media, or has to. I would like to think anyway, he doesn't have too many worries about his self-worth and self-confidence, and won't let whatever social media says define that. But I would hope he wouldn't, because if you were, in your own Twitter or X or whatever online bubble you may have, you might have seen some of the stuff that I saw, which is a bunch of criticism directed at one particularly rubbish-looking spear, really naff-looking. He doesn't get a great deal of connection. There's not an awful lot of follow-through. Gunther, sells it fine, but they kind of need the two of them to go down together, and Jey Uso doesn't really go down. It's an awkward-looking thing, and a bit like what you mentioned about the hip attack with Jey Uso, on a show where you've seen the Braun Breaker one, it's all you need a lot of distance, and a 40-minute gap is not that much distance. It didn't in any way, and this is the thing about isolated clips, and this happens all the time on Twitter because botches or goofs are funny, I guess. But I would say this did the opposite of telling the story of this match, because everything in it was really over.
Yeah.
And you're right to highlight how good Gunther was on that kick out. But a couple of times in a match that had even less doubt than the Nia Rhea Ripley one about who was winning, the audience were just desperate to be on the ride. They wanted to be on the ride, that they weren't going to allow that shoddy looking spear, or Jey Uso never really feeling like he had much of a physical advantage at any point in the match. Even when he built his momentum, he was like he was charging a finisher meter or something with all of his big moves. But he never really felt like he had it in the match, and yet you wouldn't think it. If they say some matches you watch them on mute and they're just dead, just no good. If you watched this match with your eyes closed, if you just listened to this match, you'd think you were seeing the match of the year or something. Gunther title defenses, Intercontinental and World, are absolutely fantastic. They are absolutely brilliant. He knows how to measure everything he does in terms of what he takes off the opponent. That you never really truly feel like Gunther is relinquishing control of the situation, even when he's getting his ass beaten with finishes or something, and they are having to spam the finishes because it's the only way to keep Gunther down. And then as soon as he gets even the tiniest bit of control again, you're like, oh no! It is I know this is an analogy that freezes some people out sometimes, but we support pretty rubbish football teams. And it's like watching your pretty rubbish football team have to play a legit good side. And then every now and then you'll break and you're like, here we go, we have to score now because we're not going to get another another one of these for 15 minutes. Oh, they're back in it. That's every Gunter title match. And he's so brilliant at working that. And in this one, I think the fact that Jey Uso was as over as he was, like, did more for the near falls than the physicality itself. But fine, because being over is a skill.
Yeah.
Being as over as Jey Uso is and being over for as long as he's been over now is a skill. Being the pluckiest, near, so close but so far loser that Jey Uso is, like, is part of his oeuvre at the moment. And I don't know still what the future holds for main event Jey Uso. I don't know if they're telling this story of it's always so near but so far that ends up making him want to be a tag wrestler again and like be the most over tag wrestler. I don't know. I don't know what it is. He's not winning the Rumble, but he's in it. I can't work out his WrestleMania match if it's not a tag. And will he see that as a backstep? Will they see that as a backstep? Because like Big Jim's having his little moment in the sun as well. I don't know. But everybody seems to still want to stay on the Jey Uso ride. And if that's the case, you do go with him over and over and over again. This was a really, really enjoyable main event.
Perfect opponent for this sort of show.
Yeah, like a really, I'm hesitant to call it great, but as an experience, it was a very enjoyable one.
Well, let us know your thoughts on Saturday night's main event in the comments or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, you can follow both of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, as I said. Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcast, the Raw preview and Collision review available right now. And a very exciting week as we look towards the Royal Rumble. But for now, this has been the Saturday night's main event review. My thanks to Michael Hamflett. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.